Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the second live recording of the Growth Room podcast, following the success of our first live podcast at the launch of our West Midlands Business Festival in February, and it's our 5th episode to date. It's the podcast where we talk to people who are scaling their businesses and the people helping them to do it, from founders, advisors and entrepreneurial leaders who know what it takes to build and sustain a successful business. So it's my absolute pleasure to introduce our guest for this evening. Darcy Laceby is the co-founder of Absolute Collagen, one of the UK's fastest growing beauty and wellness brands. She launched the business with her mother, Maxine Laceby, combining her background in food development with a passion for science-backed beauty products. What started as a kitchen table as an experiment is now a multi-million-pound direct-to-consumer brand known for its liquid collagen supplements, highly engaged community, and recent expansion into weight loss support. Darcy has played a key role in shaping marketing strategies focused on authenticity, education, and community-led growth. She's recognised as one of the UK's leading young entrepreneurs, with a strong focus on brand storytelling, customer engagement and direct-to-consumer marketing, and has featured in the Forbes 30 Under 30 and led Absolute Collagen to become the 40th fast-growing company in the UK. Fourth. There's a zero here, so they're fourth fastest growing company in the UK. So wow, please give a very warm welcome to Darcy. So Darcy, Absolute Collagen started with you and your mum, experimenting with collagen products at home. Can you tell us how that journey began?
Well, it kind of began at our kitchen table. This is why I think I like this podcast, because I feel like I'm in someone's living room. So I went to uni. I went to UCB, which is literally around the corner, which I'm sure people know. I've heard of, nods. I went off to university. I actually applied to do psychology, and then just before clearing decided I didn't want to do that. I wanted to do something I actually had a passion for, which was food, so food science and food development. And my head teacher actually pulled me into his room and was like, why do you want to be a chef? And I was like, 1, I don't, 2, it's none of your business, and 3, I'm going to do what I want anyway. So I went off to uni, didn't really speak to my mum, and she's always been like my biggest champion. Literally, me and my sister could do what I want growing up. We never did anything, but she was like our biggest champion, always trusted us with anything. It was like the 3 of us growing up. And I come back from uni, and she was basically boiling up pig's feet and I was going to say chicken trotters, but it's chicken feet and pig's trotters, isn't it? In the kitchen. And I was like, what are you doing? Well, to be honest, I didn't really pay her much attention because I thought she was bonkers. And weirdly, as part of my uni course, I could just pick different food products to do work on, to take to the labs and experiment with and things like that. And I was like, I'm just going to take the products Mum's experimenting with in a kitchen at home. And she was taking this, and her friends were like, you've got an amazing sense of well-being, your hair looks great, your skin looks great, can you make some for us? And she's like, yeah, sure. So she's making it for them, and she said, like, Dust, can you just look online if there's one we can just tell them to buy, because it's hard work, and there wasn't. So that was back in 2017, so Absolute Collagen's 10 years next year, which is bonkers. I've never had a job interview still, apart from like bar work. Used to work on Broad Street. And yes, O-Bar, I don't think it's there anymore. And then, we basically made this product for my mum and her friends. So it was maximum the collagen, minimum dose, ready mix in easy, convenient formats. And that's kind of always been our ethos with everything we do. And now, we've got about 70 employees. We're literally based about a 3-minute walk by Flight Club, if anyone knows. It's been amazing. I get to learn every day. We took investment in 2020, but we've got skincare, hair care, collagen supplements, and we've just moved into rapid weight loss support for people on GLP-1s. So that's like the nutritional deficiencies that you see when you're on like a calorie-restricted diet, basically.
So at what point was it that you realised that your idea could turn into a real business?
It wasn't until 2019, I think. So we went to CEW, which is a beauty awards in London, and I remember this man walked up to me and he was like, you're like Botox. I was like, well, it kind of is. It does help with your wrinkles, but not really. And he's like, no, I don't mean it like that. I mean, you're like Hoover. He's like, people don't want collagen. They want Absolute Collagen. And genuinely, we were just working away in Birmingham, and there wasn't like networking programs or things like this or communities like nearly 10 years ago that you'd really go to and share your ideas and speak and be part of. Really, it was just like me and my mum working from our house, and we didn't speak to anyone, we didn't take investment. So I remember our first month was, we'd started to go digital marketing direct to consumer because it was quite a nascent category and needed education. And our first experience of digital marketing was $5,000 in ad spend, $3,000 in fees. And she was like, we can't afford it. And I was like, well, yeah, obviously. And she's like, we'll just have to remortgage the house. So I was like, okay. And off we did. She went, if it doesn't go well, are you okay? Like, we'll be fine. So massive risk takers, basically. Yeah. It's not good. But it's good that it worked. It could be bad. Yeah, but we knew we had an amazing product. We just knew we needed to get it to people, and there wasn't a market out there. Well, there was a market out there, but no products in it. So yeah, we were able to create that. And now there's loads of collagen brands out there, which is amazing to see. It's just helping consumers make the informed choices about what they're going to buy and how they're going to buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how important was that founding story in shaping the brand identity in those early days?
Absolutely huge. So back in 2017, we didn't have any content, we didn't do any photo shoots or anything like that. And our agency were like, Darcy, Maxine, you need content, you need videos. And we're like, well, we'll just film Maxine speaking about her story. And we literally would get in the car and we'd go pick a topic, talk about your life, and Maxine would talk about fear of failure, or we'd never say mistakes, we always say missteps, and like things like that. And that really resonated with people, and that's how we grew the brand, was essentially the trust that we'd built in Maxine with consumers and absoluters. And then it's bizarre actually thinking about it, but it does just show like you need a really strong product, especially in a subscription world, because people aren't going to rebuy. Like if we only had people that bought one product at a time and didn't ever come back, we wouldn't have an economical business. But we're able to really bring people in, they really trust Maxine. We're able to then deliver upon a product promise that we speak about. And then, yeah, it's the good circle.
Yeah. And did you think about building a brand from the start, or did you find that evolved as your business grew?
No, we were probably the worst marketeers. Like we just genuinely did what we thought was the right thing to do. So like everyone that left us a review, I'd message and be like, oh, hey, how did you get on? And we just phone them and they'd then talk about it to friends and things like that. The branding was always really important to us. But I remember we sat down about 3 years in and we were like, I don't think we've just got a product here that we're selling. And that was also one of the pivotal things. We had one product for like 3 years and we didn't really stray from that. It was one flavour as well, so it wasn't like we had multiple variants. We literally had a 14-day pack of lemon flavoured collagen, and that was it. And we sold that on a 14-day and a 28-day subscription. So it wasn't until about 3 years in where we were like, oh, people actually care about Absolute Collagen, not less so about the products we sell, but people like the brand even if they don't buy the products. And that was really, really great. And we'd walk through London, I remember a couple of years in, and it was a Saturday in Soho, so, you know, everyone's had a drink. And someone just pointed at Maxine and was like, you're the collagen lady. And I was like, she's the collagen lady. I was like, that's my mum. And that was nice. It's nice to see that the industry has just got so widely recognised for products that actually work, and yeah, it's great.
Fantastic. So really about turning that personal discovery into a credible customer brand.
And I think any brand can have a story. Obviously, don't fabricate one, but there is a reason you're starting your brand. And even if that is, I'm really struggling with my finances because of X, Y, and Z, that's still a story. So I think don't copy people, like find your own voice, find your own narrative, and find the reason that you exist and belong. And then you can really build trust and educate from there, really.
Fab. And so from creating that brand to marketing and building your brand, Absolute Collagen, as you said, has built a strong and loyal customer base, your absoluters. Yeah. How did you approach marketing in the early stages?
It was really about the community build for us. So we were trying to get people to buy a product they didn't really know anything about because collagen wasn't a thing. We were trying to get them to subscribe because they need to take it for 12 weeks. And to take 12 weeks, they really need to invest £150, and that's a lot. So really, it was about building that trust. In the early days, we were really, really lucky that the landscape in Meta was so different. So there's so much more competition in those landscapes now, in those environments, especially from a direct-to-consumer perspective. Like, you're paying so much more money for every click, every view, every customer. But when we started in 2017, our literally marketing split was, 60% Meta, 20% Google, and the rest was a little bit of like magazines and that here and there and PR. Like we were super lucky. The big marketing days we got were when we had a Daily Mail article or something like that on Maxine's story. And I call my mum Maxine, but I always have done, by the way. It's the same person. Yeah, it was her story, and just subscription is really, really healthy, like profitability-wise. So it's about how can you engage with customers like long-term. Like we've done clinical trials now. We know what happens to your body after 6 weeks, but we know you get even better results after 12 weeks. We know after you stop taking it, those results lessen. Yeah. So it's about choosing your message wisely and educating the consumer, because you can't also tell them everything, because one, they don't really want to know everything, and two, it's a lot of information to tell them. So just like being selective with your messaging and what is the things you actually need to hammer home.
And you focused early on a direct-to-consumer model, so why was that the right approach for your brand?
Looking back, it was 100% the right approach. Why? It was kind of an accident, I guess, in a way. We actually were approached by a lot of the big retailers quite early on because it was a new product and people wanted to get in the category. You can see like the search volume in Google rising and the market trend reports. But it was, when you spoke to a customer like, what is collagen? They would literally say it's something you inject in your face, and that was the most common answer you'd get 10 years ago. And people didn't really know much about it. So we wanted to be able to basically ship products to consumers and be able to tailor the message every single time. It was also the decision to do all the distribution in-house. So we used to literally had, in the end, probably about 8 people working from the house in the living room. It was quite strange. The dog was just like, what's going on? And then we used to pack from our garage, which we had to get extended because it was only a little garage. So we knocked down stuff to build bigger garages. We could fit 8 pallets in there, I remember that. But really it was, we'd send a letter on first order, we'd send a letter on second order, like, okay, by this time, you're 4 weeks in, you should be feeling X, Y, Z. This is what's happening to your body. And if we went to a fulfillment house, you're going to get charged a lot of extra things for that. We were able to write custom notes and orders. And really, it was about the education. And we know we needed to build that trust. Like, if you're going into a shop and buying a brand that you don't know, and they're saying, you take this for 12 weeks, it's £150, that's such a hard message to cut through.
Sure. So that education piece really important to
so important.
Customers understand the
especially
value.
Like the daily habituality, and I think that's the thing with supplements, which I'm sure there's a few supplement brands here. It's like, how is your product best going to work? And there's stuff you might have to sacrifice so customers take it every day. Like you might be like, well, this isn't a great ingredient, but if it tastes like crap, they're not going to take it every day, and then there's that vicious cycle there. So there's always the tension between efficacy and usability and habituality, which is massive. And one of the biggest reasons we have for cancellations is I forgot to take it. And if something's not that pleasurable to take, you will just find excuses to take it.
Yeah, of course. And Absolute Collagen, as you've said, it's known for its loyal community. So how do you feel you created that level of engagement?
It was really, so our fourth hire was Katie, who was our community manager. So so it was me, Maxine, then we did e-com and tech, and then fourth was community manager, which people kind of go, really? But she literally replied to every single message. If we had a review on Trustpilot, Google reviews, whatever it was, she would reach out direct to that customer and speak to them. We'd have engagement events. We joke because we offer Maxine up for lunch, not to eat. That sounded really weird, didn't it? We offer Maxine to go out for lunch with customers all the time. And Maxine's like, they don't want to go to lunch. I'm like, they want to go to lunch with you. And it's great, like we'll go to the Ivy or we'll invite them into the office. And that's always the best thing, inviting customers to the office. Like they are helping us by testing new products. They're getting a really lovely day out. They get to meet the founders and see how we work behind the scenes, because people want to see that. Like documenting your journey is massive, and you see a lot of the viral startup brands now, it's whilst they've got a great product, they've gone viral because it's the founder's story. Like all the cake brands on Instagram and those sort of things, like they're largely not differentiated in product, they're differentiated in story, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think you might get some volunteers for lunch from here after that.
Oh, we'll all go for lunch. Yeah.
And what role has social media played in growing the brand? I constantly see you on my Insta feed, but that probably says something about the demographic. But yeah, what's that role
No,
of social
I can't seem to see my mum on my Instagram feed. I can't get away from her. She's abroad at the moment, and I still see her every time. I had to call her 3 times on Mother's Day for her to answer me, though. But yeah, social media is massive for AC. Still plays a massive part in how we grow, but different platforms for different things. So TikTok Shop is becoming quite integral to the business. But I kind of had this like really naggy thing that brands will call their like social pages communities, but they're really not. Like, we have a closed Facebook group page, which you get a password to when you subscribe, and that's our community in a way, but then you still have to activate it and engage with them in certain ways. And your social page isn't your community, and how you grow socials now is a lot different, and there's a lot of those sort of vanity metrics, but everything has a different purpose. Like, Instagram's there to kind of look a bit more aesthetic for us and be a bit more informational and kind of drive the newness and the authenticity that we want through the brand, with a little bit of behind the scenes. TikTok's kind of a bit more raw, and we'll post on TikTok twice a day, on Instagram once a day, but we'll hide posts on Instagram so the feed looks nice. But Facebook was really where we grew predominantly. It was that kind of time when Facebook's still a big part of AC now, but social media was literally what grew it. If I look at the way in which we spend marketing now, it's not 60% on Meta. It's significantly less, and there's a lot more spend in other areas, like influencers, to be honest. And we always kind of steered away from that because we've got a supplement, it needs to be authentic and people need to take it for a long time. And the majority of influencers are now happy to be like, okay, I'll test it before I speak to my followers, or I'll bring them along in that journey. But I was always really cautious about just getting people to say stuff about a product they haven't used, because I think it was that time when you had like, do you remember like Booty and like the Slim Teas and all of that stuff? It was a lot of snake oily stuff on the market, and yeah, it's the whole supplements industry is a really tricky one to navigate as a consumer, because you can see clinical trials, but everyone says they've got clinical trials even if they don't. So how do you actually, I guess, authenticate what you're actually looking at and buying? And social can be a great way in getting your message out there, but it's just trying to see, you just need the cut through as well, which a lot of brands have cut through now, but it's through clickbaity titles, which is annoying half the time.
And how do you turn those happy customers, apart from lunches, into advocates for the brand?
They really resonate with the Absolute Collagen story, our customers do. And if you speak to the majority of employees at AC, they'll say, I started because I heard Maxine talk, or I wanted to come because I'm seeing the journey and I've seen how you've grown it and bootstrapped it from the start and things like that. And really it's about delivering on a promise. Like, the 3 pillars in AC are proven, pure and powerful. And that's essentially, our product is pure, like we're single source origin collagen, which there isn't actually another brand out there that does that. We're powerful, we've got peer-reviewed clinical studies, so a lot of brands will have clinical studies, but anyone can get a clinical study, but getting them peer-reviewed, only 10% of publications get allowed for peer review, and that's basically a global scientific board look at it and submit it. It takes about a year. And powerful, that we know our supplement works, and we know it works better than anyone else. And if we don't deliver on any of those 3 promises, why would anyone come back and trust us again? So we always try and deliver on time. We always try and reply to every single message. We always try and deliver on the promise that we give. And if we don't, we'll find a resolution plan. And the biggest thing is the trust with the consumer for us. And if we're going to run out, or if we're going to be late on something, we'll always try and make the conscious effort to talk to people. And I think that openness and being a bit more raw and authentic is really important. In lockdown, for instance, I remember when they announced that, like, we sent an email out to a whole customer base, like, if you can't afford AC, like, cancel. And 4% of the whole base cancelled. It's quite sad. But in 12 days, we'd already recovered that growth.
Yeah.
So, like, it pays, and a lot of those people came back after, and are bigger advocates now than they were before. So, yeah, it's the trust for me is the biggest one, and that runs through your business and your employees as well.
Yeah. And that communication and that authenticity, as you say, absolutely investing in that customer experience.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, as well as founding your business, you're obviously now leading your business on this amazing growth journey. So you started the business relatively young. So how has that shaped your leadership journey?
Oh, I've changed so much. I don't cry anymore. I used to cry all the time. Not in front of people, just on my own. I've changed massively as a person. You wouldn't get me doing this 8 years ago. No. God, I'd be, no. But I've learned to trust my instincts and myself a little bit more. And that's a journey that I guess I struggled with quite a lot. When we went for investment, for instance, that was in 2020. I literally cried into a tuna sandwich the day before, thinking the world's going to end if they don't invest, yada, yada. And it wasn't. We had a profitable business. We weren't actually investing on needing cash generation. It was me and Maxine never run a business before. She looked after me and my sister growing up, and I've got 2 half-sisters. I was 19 and 28 now. So I get to sit in these rooms with the most incredible people every single day and learn the most incredible things. I know, take an investment, we got that strategic advice, and one of the biggest regrets I have is I'd basically always say yes to everything because I'm like, oh my gosh, these people must know what they're doing. And they do know what they're doing, but I knew product, science, and customer better than anyone. And just sticking to your guns a bit more. And I think as a leader, and especially as a female leader or a young leader, or just being that kind of anomaly in the room, that can always be really hard because you do get pushback from people. But I think it's just, the way I am is quite reflective. Like, I'll never really jump in on something then and there. I'll want to think about it and gather opinions and thoughts and then move forward from it. Which I also think the way in which boardrooms and stuff are changing. Like, my first board meeting, no idea what I was doing. Would just go to it and to present some stuff again. Yeah, exactly. But even just the way in which business works, and because you've got a different perspective on things, you can kind of be like, well, why do we do it that way? Because I think that's a bit silly. We could actually do it this way. And we've managed to change so many processes and procedures because people just do stuff, again, how they think it should almost be done. But I've just learned to have a bit more confidence in myself and my abilities, and just trying to always, me and my mother saying, like, always do the next right thing. It sounds soft, but like, we do genuinely just try and do the next right thing. And that's whether it's, I don't know, paying taxes or like whatever. And if it's an employee-related issue, like how do we solve that for the business and also for the employee on the best front?
So really having that confidence in your vision and where you want your business to go.
Yeah, that can be the hardest thing as well, like confidence. Like, if you're like a leader or a senior person in your business, people want direction, don't they? They don't want you to flip back and forward, and just sometimes having that grit to be like, okay, we're going right. You don't know whether to go right or left. Like, okay, we're all going right and you'll come with me. I don't know if we should go left. Like, it's hard, isn't it? And you've got to back yourself to a certain degree. And I've never been very good at that, but I'm learning. It's all okay.
Good. Yeah, it will be okay. So what's been the biggest learning curve as your business has grown?
I think fundamentally learning to trust myself a little bit more. Like, would be one of the biggest ones. And I've realised I used to really think people cared about my age, for instance, but I've realised that's my own insecurity and they don't really care. And it kind of relates back to how AC was started in the first place. My mum did this art degree, and part of her coursework, she decided to weirdly do her art project on herself and chopped all her hair off, got a nose piercing, took the colour out, got a tattoo, got a motorbike, and wore crazy. Yeah, she wore like really. Yeah, exactly. Why not? She wore like really daddy clothes, and she wanted to see how the world essentially saw her. What she realised is how insecure she was with herself, and again, no one really cared. She came to London the other day, and she'd normally have a bag and all this stuff. And we were there for 3 days. I was like, "What have you got? Like, you've not got anything with you." She was like, "Darcy, I'm going to wear the same jumpsuit 3 days in a row, and tell you what, no one cares." I was like, "They don't, do they?" She was like. Yeah, I was like, fair play. Like, I think it is about just learning to, you're your own person, you can do what you want to do, can't you, really?
Absolutely. Learning as you grow. So what advice would you give to founders trying to build a strong brand today?
Know what your message is. I think there's so many, it's so hard because if you've got a products-based business especially, like, you're so passionate about it, and one, you think everyone knows about it if you're just talking about it because it's all in your brain, or it might be my slight ADHD, to be honest. But actually clarifying, like writing down what are those messages. For AC, it was always quite easy because Maxime was kind of like the brand, and so like people starting would always kind of know AC because they know Maxime, but knowing who your customer is, knowing what those key messages are, like what do you want people to think in 3 seconds, 10 seconds versus 30 seconds versus after they speak to the brand, like what is that hierarchy, what do you want people to know? And I think as long as you stick to that, I think once you've got that, because if you haven't got that, I think it's really hard then to amplify. But also getting cut through in media is so difficult, so you need strong assets, and especially, I speak from a product-based business because that's all I really know, but if you're doing that kind of social media strategy, your content is literally like king. Like, Facebook has so many different updates now. Your ads only last maximum 6 weeks, and that's if they're good. That can be really hard for small businesses. So like, how can you utilize like AI platforms and programs? We use so many now, different types, and there's so many different softwares out there, and it can be quite intimidating to look and learn, but we as a company have had to learn and adapt, because not even with our teams, we can create the vast amount of content that's needed for the channels and the large language models.
And looking back on your journey so far, what's the biggest marketing lesson you've learned?
Oh, I think that message piece, like if no one's going to your website, or if someone comes to your website, if 10 people go to your website and they all come away with a different thing, it's like you're clearly not saying the message you want hard enough. And we probably 2 years ago got a bit muddled with our messaging, and no one really knew what we stood for, and everyone in the office, they'd say 50% of the same thing, but 50% would be different. And I think just knowing your brand and who you stand up for and show up for is literally key, because if you're going to pay for marketing and even get content out there and your brand looks different, it feels different, it sounds different, you're not ever going to get the customer to come back and truly resonate with what you're saying. And I do think the brand piece and the messaging piece and the comms piece is just like so important with a brand. But also have a good product. You can't market product. That's kind of key, isn't it?
Yeah, I would say that's kind of key. So
there's a lot out there, though. There's a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of things that don't, especially supplements. It's wild world.
So for founders listening today, we have lots of them here, and they want to build a strong brand. Where should they start?
Oh. As long as you've got your branding right, you've got your messaging right, and then what you're going to go do. I genuinely think if you're a founder and you're passionate, use yourself, like you're your biggest asset. Like how can you utilize yourself in your marketing? And that's what you kind of see those successful brands go now. But if you're going to do that and you're going to try more on that viral aspect, like your shop needs to work. And like, there's nothing more soul destroying than if you do have something go slightly viral and no one can check out on your page. Like that's terrible. Even if it's like, I don't know, they're buying a course, a product, whatever it might be, a service. But yeah, I'd say fundamentally use yourself as your marketing asset and try and be clever about how you're creating content as well. Like this is a great example, like it's a podcast, it's 30 minutes. So like after this content, you could put the whole video on YouTube, you could cut it down to 5 shorts, you could put TikTok, YouTube shorts, you could create this into a blog post, you want to email it to people, you want LinkedIn and social, and then you've got statics as well. You want, yeah, that's how we do everything. Like utilize the hell out of everything you've got. Like if you've got clinicals or data or anything like that, if you're doing a product, like send surveys out via emails, collect data from people, speak to customers, find out like what their pain points actually are, because there is probably one, and test and learn massively. Like don't wait as well for, nothing's gonna be perfect. You're always gonna have to just start. And I think that can also be the killer of loads of brands. There's so many things with Absolute Collagen that we had a great product, we chose the right route to market, but it was also really the right time. And so just jumping and doing something sometimes can also just help.
Just make a start.
Yeah.
Don't hold yourself back. So what's next for Absolute Collagen? Yourself and Maxine?
Well, she's running a marathon at the moment.
Yes, I saw her training.
So we've launched so we're now in Boots. Sorry. So we're now direct to consumer, Boots, and obviously Amazon. We just launched into nutritional support for weight loss. So Maxine's been on her Mounjaro journey for about 2.5 years. I was essentially giving her the supplements that she should use alongside it, and she was taking 17 different ones. So we saw kind of the need for her. She was really struggling with things like digestion. She actually said she was going to get "I'm tired" tattooed on her head at one point. But we launched Sculpt Pro, which is essentially an AM/PM 2-part solution. The morning's all about hydration. It's got your electrolytes, collagen, hyaluronic acid. The PM's all about gut health. It's got creatine and BCAAs in for muscle tone as well. They're really cool products, and really it's just about how we amplify them in the current markets that we're in. Like we know what we're good at, and that's creating collagen supplements, and we'll really continue to do that internationally in the UK, and really just launching new channels as well, the other thing. And we know the collagen market's growing so much, and it has done for the last 8 years or 10 years, and it's only going to grow more. Like 51% of the UK, like our target demo, which is sort of 30 to 55, 51% have taken a collagen supplement. So still 49% to go. So yeah, that's a good thing.
That's good. Yeah, it sounds like you've got another busy 10 years ahead.
Yeah, I always thought I'd have a gap year after uni or something, but I don't think that will happen ever.
Gone so fast these 10 years.
Honestly, it's gone so fast. Like, I love my life, I love my job. Sundays, if I'm not doing anything, I will literally sit there on my laptop and I'll be the happiest person. Like, I love it so much.
You can tell. It's great to see. It's great to see. So thanks, Darcy. I think that's been a great conversation with some real practical takeaways for everybody here around building a brand, around a genuine customer need, focusing on that community and customer relationships, authentic storytelling. So thanks for sharing that. That helps the brand stand out, and how growth requires that consistency, that learning and that resilience. So thank you for sharing your amazing story of founding and growing Absolute Collagen. I think it's a lovely mother and daughter story. So it's great to see. Congratulations to your mum on a recent milestone birthday.
Yeah, she was 60 last week.
Yes, so congratulations to your mum. And we wish you both real huge continued success for the future. So can we all give a big thank you to Darcy?